Hello everyone, I'm Tony, the Scarred Ghost. These days I worked on a pretty cool experiment on something that was like passion of mine, and the result has been this one. When the magic happens, and bam! If you don't understand why I'm so excited about a cube that is blue, well, watch this video and you will understand pretty soon. I promise you it will be a cool journey through mixed reality artificial intelligence with a fun open source ending, so don't stop watching this video. So this experiment started because as a CTO of a startup, which is called Vroom, by the way, we make virtual reality concerts, I must be up to date with all the latest technologies. And there is a problem. I'm quite skilled with XR, but I've never experimented that much in depth with the trend of the moment, which is artificial intelligence. So I started thinking what I could do, and seeking inspiration online, I saw mostly stuff like words where you can go in, write a prompt and generate an image, or NPC that just translate vocal messages, what ChatGPT says, and I'm like, oh wow, exciting. This is not the kind of things that I love and that makes me excited about my job. I wanted something that was inspiring, that was cool, and in which I could fail totally big. While I was thinking, I reminded about an interview I had with John Gaeta, which is one of the people that worked at the Matrix movie and that was part of Magic Leap, when I met him here in Turin, Italy, and I interviewed him. And I asked him, hey John, what's the future of storytelling? I was imagining him talking about 360 videos, and instead he started saying that the future of storytelling is experiences that every person will enjoy mixed reality. So every time you can enjoy different experience, interactive experience around you. And at the same time, my brain makes a short circuit between these and an article I read a few years ago about the future of movies, because this article was pretty visionary and said, well, movies in the future may adapt around you. So, I'm Tony, I like mixed reality, I like soccer, I enter in this movie system in VR, and the system knows what I like and maybe creates a movie around soccer that day. And I'm tired that day, and so maybe the movie is kind of relaxing to make not me too much stressed. So, and the experience evolves also following what I'm doing. So I had this in my mind and I said, that's something very cool that AI could do. Because I think that the power of AI is the one of customization. And customization around me and customization also about the situation. So what I'm saying is that I was thinking, yeah, you make a movie, I enter into a VR experience. The VR experience is shaped around me, and while I interact with it, the experience keeps developing itself to follow the choices I'm making, my current mood, if I'm liking it or not. So it's like the experience generates itself at runtime. So imagine something like this. Instead of having a static application that is that and that's it, maybe with just a few choices, an experience that you enter has of course some basis to work on, like an experience about making movies, but every time is different and every time it generates a new outcome, new enemies if it is a game, new characters, new logic, new scenes, new everything on the fly while you use it. It's kind of futuristic, we don't even know if it will happen, but for sure it's pretty cool. So I wondered myself, can I do it? Of course not, there is no way. This is like years of work of a full team with millions of funding, and maybe the result is not even good in the end. But I started thinking, can I make a prototype about it? Can I make like one step in that direction, an experiment? And I said, maybe yes, that is something that excites me. That is something that is cool, that involves AI, that involves XR, which is my passion. I said, let's do it. With this purpose in mind, I started thinking about what could be this test, this prototype that could have made me do something with AI, learn in the process, and have fun. So I was thinking about this vision of a fully generative, dynamic application, and I thought that can be a problem because, as I said, experiences are developed, they are built, they are released, and that's it. It's not that developers can still develop things after it has been released. Of course, they can make a new update, but then they have to rebuild and re-release a new version of the application. There is an order in which an application is done, and it's developing, building, and then releasing with the user, then using it. There are, anyway, some experiences, of course, that can have modes, can have patches, can have plugins. We all have, for instance, Chrome, Firefox are pluginable. So you can create plugins that are loaded at runtime, that attaches to the application and expand its functionalities. So I thought, yeah, I have to do something like this, like an application that auto-plugin itself, that auto-mods itself, let's say. And the first problem is understanding how to break the barrier of the logic generation. So how can I, in Unity, which is the engine I use, create like a logic that is loaded at runtime? So that is not only something that is being put in the build, but can create new logic that is added, let's say, as a plugin on the fly, all powered by AI. So that was my first question, can I do it? And the second question that I asked is, supposing that I can do it, so the application can generate its own logic, can I make sure that the application not only creates the logic of something, but creates the logic of like a scene starting from an initial condition? So explaining this better, the first request for me was like, can I make an additional logic to an application like I create a new enemy that does not exist? The second question is, can I start from the user is scared? Since I'm scared ghost, I think scared sounds good. The user is scared, and since it is scared, the system generates a new environment, which is an open space with lots of scaring enemies all generated on the fly. So starting from an input which is about the user generate a scene. And I think I can try to do something in both senses. Of course, I was not trying to find, as I said, a final solution because that's a huge project, but I was just trying to think about, can I scratch the surface of these two things? Can I evaluate the feasibility? And that was something doable. So I started working on it. I decided to give a name to this project of mine. I called it Dynaimic Apps, where there is in Dynaimic is not A, is AI. It's easier to write than to explain. It's not a super great name, but I mean, everyone gives stupid names to everything. I can be just another one doing the same. And in these Dynaimic Apps, the vision is exactly the one of generating some logic at runtime. And I started thinking about what can be the blocks to build them. And luckily, I found the solution. So the first thing I did was finding, of course, what could be the AI engine. And I chose OpenAI because it's the startup of the moment, it's a great system. So we all tried ChatGPT, and we know ChatGPT can write Unity scripts. So I decided to use it. So OpenAI would have written the logic of the Unity application. But the question is how to load it at runtime. Well, the good news is that I found a system. So the C# compiler called Roslyn has been open sourced by Microsoft. And since that moment, many things have been done with it. And one of them is that some people are starting to use it to compile scripts on the fly inside Unity. So you write a script, and the logic of the script is loaded into memory. Like what I'm saying, like a plugin. There is, speak technically, the script is compiled into an assembly that is loaded into the application memory, which basically means adding a new logic module into your application at runtime. I'm really lucky to find that there is a plugin on the Unity Asset Store that costs only 20 euros that gives all of this with plus some extra and compatibility with Windows and also Android on the Asset Store. So I thought that instead of trying to integrate myself Roslyn inside Unity, spend me 20 euros and have everything done would have been great. So I had the two blocks to make what I wanted. I could have a prompt like make a cube that goes up and down, ask to OpenAI to create a script out of it. OpenAI could write on the script. I could feed the script into Roslyn. Roslyn could create the logic and take it and compile it at runtime and create a new logic model inside my application. And so I would have this new logic inside my application, which is exactly what I wanted. So things started looking promising. The main block have been decided, but I wanted to do something, some experience. So I thought about what to do and had an idea. First of all, to use cubes, because I always do things using cubes, because I'm terrible at making 3D elements. And in the past, I already made some successful experiences with cubes. Maybe you know about the Unity Cube, an experience I published on MetaQuest App Lab and got many downloads on that store. So I decided to use cubes, and then I thought, okay, I work on a company about musical experiences, like let's make something that is music related. So I had this idea to make an experience in mixed reality, which is the technology of the MetaQuest Pro and soon of the Apple Reality headset, about me seeing the environment around me with the headset, putting it on, and being able to spawn some cubes around me in the environment, and then being able to give it some logic. So putting a cube and say, oh, now you become bigger and smaller following the volume of the music, and use it as a musical sandbox. So given the nature of the experience, I gave it the name CubicMusic, which sounds pretty cool. You can see the result of CubicMusic in the video that I will show you very, very soon. And the good news is that I managed to develop it. Basically, I don't get too much in the technical details of how I did it, because I already made a lot of material about the technicalities of this project. I will tell you later where to find it. But basically, using this logic of AI creates the logic, Roslyn, package it, compiles it, and loads it into memory. I managed to make this experience where you spawn a cube, and then when you say what you want from the cube, like you say, again, make it blue, when you say make it blue, it is not that the experience has any idea what make it blue means. Is that it gives this input to the AI, it writes a script, it's loaded into memory, and then the cube becomes blue. The cube has become blue because the application auto-plugged, auto-mounted itself to add the functionality of something that can become blue. And that's what is the coolest part of the whole experience. So the experience that I did is working and proved my first point. I can make something in which AI generates the logic at runtime. You can see it in action here. So here we are in the application. You see on my right hand there is the preview of the cube to generate. On the left hand there is the interface for the AI. So let me put the cube on the chair, and I want it to make it blue as the chair. So let me ask the AI to do that. Make it color blue. Okay, so now the AI has transcribed my message and is finding a script to make it blue. And then the script will be loaded at runtime to make the cube blue. So let's see when the magic happens. And bam! You see the cube is blue, and this is the logic it created, which is a bit strange but still worked. So now let's make something that is music reactive. So let me try to put something here close to the window. So let me put these cubes here, and let's try to make them sound reactive. So make them go from color red to color green following the rhythm of the music. Red color is for low volume, green color for high volume. Okay, so I sent it my request about the volume of the music. Let's see if it will be understood. It's thinking about something, you see? The application now has become sound reactive. These cubes are sound reactive. I don't have to force sound reactiveness, but it's something cool. It's CubicMusic after all, so these are cool to be made here. I can also ask something related to the microphone, for instance. Make them green and make the scale grow from 0.2 to 0.5 following the volume of the microphone. And so now they should be able to do something related to the volume of the microphone, which is why I'm speaking. You see, they are green and they are growing. While I speak, they grow for 0.5, and I'm shut up, it's 0.2. And then the rest is in the middle. So you see, I'm making an experience that is sound reactive, and then I can keep making this logic generated however I want. And I remind all of you that I never added any of this logic in the application. It's all generated at runtime by the AI. Assign to it a random color and make it change randomly every 2 seconds. So now I can keep adding elements to my environment, and they will keep being executed just following my commands. So that's the power of this application, which keeps doing stuff. You see, these cubes in the middle are just changing colors following my instructions. Some random seconds they just change to a random color. That's amazing. So this is the sandbox. It is the power of this application. So let's make one last one. So let's put it here. Make it yellow and make it go up and down of 1 meter following the volume of the music. So let's try this last one with the positional movement. Let's see if it works. You see? It's moving quite fast following the volume of the music, up and down of 1 meter. So while I was shooting the video, there will also be 2 cases, this one and this one, where the application didn't work. I explained that it's still a prototype, so in some cases the scripts generated by the AI may fail. It's normal, but in most cases, you see, it works, and it can make you generate, without writing code, without even writing anything in the application, something cool that stays in your environment and is sound reactive. Cool, isn't it? But now let's come to the second problem. The second problem was about creating something more high level. So imagining what I said about a horror movie that understands if I'm scared or not and shapes the experience that way, I didn't want to be me telling the system what to do. Because with the cubes, you have seen, I just say, become blue, become red, grow following the volume of the microphone. But it's me saying that. I just load some logic. I wanted to not tell the system what to do. I wanted just to give an input about me. So I had this idea of this experience called emotional, CubicMusic, in which I just say to the system, I'm happy, I'm sad. And it creates cubes around me with the logic created all automatically to express that mood. So it's pretty strange as a concept, but was good to show that functionality. I have to tell you that doing something like that is crazy difficult, and I had to simplify the problem a lot. For instance, in the end, I hard-coded the number of cubes to 7. I selected only a few features that the system could change, like the color, the shape, the movement, because keeping it very generic, I saw it was not working that much. Which was not good, so since it's just a prototype, I decided to reduce the complexity of it. And you may wonder, Tony, what means that a cube is sad? Well, to understand it, I asked ChatGPT about it, and ChatGPT told me, of course, cubes don't express moods, but if they had to, we can say that bright colors are happiness and pale colors are sadness. Fast movements are happiness, slow movements are sadness. Big scale is happiness, small scale is sadness. And I felt, okay, that's a good idea. So that's what has been implemented in the prompt. And basically the experience worked this way. So I tell my prompt, which is I'm sad. I send it to the AI, and the AI answers to this prompt by creating a choreography, let's say, of 7 cubes that can express my mood. For every one of these 7 cubes, the choreography is expressed as a coordinating space plus the logic the cube must have to express my mood together with the others. But this logic is not expressed as a script, it's expressed as another AI prompt. So then I have to take all these 7 cubes with the 7 instructions, re-ask the AI to generate the cube with the logic that expresses that prompt. So if you got a bit lost, the idea is a bit similar, with more simplified, but let's say similar of what Agent GPT does. So I wanted a 2-level AI, a top-level AI that translates my mood, sadness, happiness, to a list of instructions. Cube 1, position 000, move fast and be yellow. Cube position 111, rotate very fast, and so on. So it translates my mood in a set of instructions for the cubes, but there is no logic yet. There is just some readable instructions. Then there is a second level of AIs that take every one of these instructions and generate the actual logic. So it is like a top AI spawns agents that create all the cubes in the scene. And all this system together expresses my mood. Of course, as I said, I simplified a lot of this because it was very difficult to make. And I'm not that experienced in AI, as I said. But in the end, I managed to make something work, which is crazy. So I like to watch how the experience works by saying just your mood. So here we are in virtual reality in the emotional scene. So I'm in this VR room and I will just tell how I feel today, and the AI engine will create some, let's say, art by spawning cubes and giving them behavior so that the whole ensemble will look like my mood. So let's try saying I'm happy. I am very, very happy. So you see, I've given no instructions about what to do. So now I'll just start looking around. At a certain point, you see this has spawned a list of cubes and the logic. You see that the logic is written in readable sentences, because now there will be new AI agents that will take this choreography and will create some logic to express my happiness. So you see now there is this colorful cube, and you notice that happiness is usually associated with big scale, movement, bright colors. Oh wow, that's pretty big. And is covering also the one that is behind. The other one is rotating, is bright blue. So slowly, one by one, these cubes are being generated to show what is happiness. And some of them will be sound reactive. You see? Wait a moment. You see, hear the music, and you see that this cube is changing color from black to red, following the rhythm of the music. And now there is this big cube, these other big cubes are all generated around me. There was another one here inside, if you remember. I don't know if I can enter into it and making you see it. And this other one also is pulsing with the rhythm of the music. And the generation is over. So you see colorful big cubes around me moving, meaning happiness. This is the art created by the AI to show what is happiness. Now, let's exit and try again by saying instead that I'm sad. So I'm back in the experience. The room is empty again. Let's try to say that I'm sad and let's see what it generates. I am terribly sad. Okay, so let's see what it will generate to simulate this. Usually maybe smaller cubes or paler tones, slow movements. You see there is written here slow rotation, still rotation. So there will still be some colors, but usually things will be maybe more on the gray, or movements will be slower, or the scale will be smaller. You see that cube has disappeared, and so I can't see it anymore because it was too sad and it remained very, very small. So this other one has become small and black and blue, so slowly rotating. This is the kind of things that are being interpreted as the sadness. So this other one is small too, pale colors, white and yellow. So I don't know where it is going to generate the next, because it spawns as a standard cube so that I can spot it and then change the logic. Other one becomes super small and basically disappeared. So let's see this one. This one will try to get some logic. And has become red and is shrinking. Slowly shrinking and becoming black as well. So you see everything around me starts looking gray, slowly moving, shrinking, all this kind of stuff which are not good. This has become super small. So and that's it. There is also this one which instead is pretty bright, but also it transitioned to gray to show some sadness, and the other ones are either small, slowly moving, or pale colors, or black. So this is sadness for our AI. Did you like the art created by the AI? Well, as I always say always yes, because remember, when the Terminators will take possession of the planet, they will remember the day you appreciated their art. The project has been, let's say, harder than I imagined. So some problems were depending from my inexperience, some others I think also from the AI technology, which from this test and others I did in the past make me think really that is not as ready as some hype wants us to believe. So I had some problems, for instance, with the prompts. Prompts still have to be very detailed and not intuitive at all. I would like to write as a prompt, hey, write a Unity script which is independent and makes this. While instead I had to specify a long set of instructions for every one of the prompts because the AI system had some problems. Like for instance, they tried to generate scripts that require external intervention, like adding some parameters in the Unity inspector, but I want this to load it automatically, so I don't want to modify anything of them. So that was a problem. Make the AI understand this was very difficult. Also for the emotional one, making this logic about the prompts, generating prompts also had issues. So in some moments I got a bit desperate about it, but then I understood who could help me. So who can help me better in writing prompts than ChatGPT, which is a prompt-driven machine as well. So I asked it how I could interact with OpenAI APIs, and it helped me in writing the prompts. And then I get back to try its prompts, and I told ChatGPT what was not working. And with this loop I made to finally write prompts that gave me the results I wanted. But I think that in the future prompts should be more, let's say, human. I should be able to write them even without asking ChatGPT to help. And also I had some problems apart from the AI also with this logic generation because, for instance, if you're a bit technical, you know that when I have to build for the Quest Pro, when you saw the pass-through, the mixed reality, I have to use a backend called IL2CPP, IL2CPP works with native code, meaning that it can't use the product modules that Roslyn C# creates because there is no managed code to use. So I contacted the creators of the plugin that they pointed me to an open source project called .now, which basically creates .NET virtual machine emulation, call it however you want, on top of the native code that the application builds in IL2CPP. It's totally not a solution that can go in production for now, but it's something that is very cool and let me create the final experience. This is just two examples of things that were problems for me and that I had to overcome, and it shows that this is very experimental field to work in. And so let's arrive to the happy ending of the video, which is the open source project, because I took all of this work I did for creating facilities for automatic runtime, dynamic code creation, the CubicMusic experience, everything, and I put it as open source on the GitHub account of the company Vroom, which legal name is Perpetual Emotion. So that's why the link you can find the repo, it is the one that you see here. The interesting thing is that I wrote a super detailed README file with associated a few videos and an architecture scheme to explain you everything about this project. This video I wanted it to be pretty lightweight. I have a parallel video of 1 hour in which I explain a lot of technical issues, how I solved them, what were my idea, etc. etc. So if you like technical details, feel free to read all this material. Feel free to contribute to this repository, to read it, to use it however you want. It has MIT license, so of course please mention that the work is by Anthony Tillo and Vroom, because it's something that will help us, of course, to get more visibility about the cool things we do. And we hope to build stuff together with all the community. That's why we have the pleasure of sharing it. We have these really deep values of openness and sharing of knowledge, which is very important. And that's why even if we're a small team, we decided to share this with the whole community, and maybe this will spark a revolution about creating these dynamic apps in 5 to 10 years. We never know. I really hope that this work will serve to create debate and some research more on this kind of applications. And we've come to the end. So I promised you some cool experiment, I promised you some cool open source ending. Everything happened. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you like it, please like and subscribe to this channel. Especially check also out the open source repository. If you want to talk about collaborations, investments, just chat about AI, feel free to contact me on Vroom. And I really wish you a happy day with artificial intelligence and virtual reality. Bye bye.